Hello, I'm TheSqueakyMoose, and I'm here to show you a deck list that I'm taking to the Beelzemon Cup pre-release. It's an interesting deck. I think that I can have some fun with this, which is the main thing about the event. I don't really care about the prizing. I just want to be able to try a deck that might not regularly have a chance to shine, so we'll get into it. And the deck is going to be MaloMyotismon. I think that this is a really sick card. I think that it needs a bit of support to actually be probably viable, but it's really fun when it goes off. So I'm going to try and see how this can work. And if you like MaloMyotismon, leave a like. And while you're down on the buttons there, click subscribe. It would help out a lot. Starting with our eggs for the deck, I'm running two different ones. So I'm running 4 of the BT8 Digimon to be able to draw when you trash a card from the top of your deck, and then the starter Pugumon, so on deletion trash the top 2 cards of your deck, because we're trying to trash and draw and find our pieces, and this seems pretty good. I've tried a few other things, but the ability to draw is just very beneficial with the Digimon, and the Pugumon's just there because sometimes you need 5 eggs. To start off the level 3s, I'm actually running 4 of the memory blocking Beelzemon because I think in this format, it's going to be very useful to have something that will block memory to stop loop decks, which I think I'll see a few of in my locals, and it actually works with some of the other things I'm running. So alongside this, I have 4 of the BT10 Beelzemon, just a good level 3 because the inheritable is while you have 10 or more cards in trash, this Digimon gains retaliation all turns, and that's going to combo with another card that we have. So I'll show you that in a second. But next up we have the Beelzemon X antibody. So this can just go over the top of one of your Gazis, trash the top 3 cards of your deck, get more of the Myotismon in trash, and then be able to continue from there to be able to actually get the on-play effects from MaloMyotismon. Just to kind of explain some of the plays that we've got going on and what we've got access to, a hypothetical line that you can go into starts at Digimon. Digimon goes into Beelzemon. If this is out from raising, then Beelzemon can go into Beelzemon X, trash the top 3, draw 1. Beelzemon X goes into Digimon. Digimon blocker is really strong and really beneficial to have because we've got the Beelzemon retaliation. So retaliation blocker is going to be able to shut down a lot of decks, I think, that want to swing for a lot of checks with something quite big. And you just block it, they're gone from the board. Unless they can remove this first, which obviously purple might have a few ways of doing that, but at least it's preventing them from just swinging. It's giving them something to have to counteract before they can do anything. And that's why I'm running 4 of the Digimon blocker, because I really want to slow down the game until I can do what I want to do. Another 1-cost Evo that we're running is the Meramon. So Meramon is just there to help us get up high very quickly, which I've found is really beneficial for this deck. So I'm just running the 2. It's more of like an intermediary, and I think that, you know, if you have to hard play this, the 5 cost is actually alright, but a lot of the time you'll be able to see your line and go up, and then go into your Myotismon and then the Malo, and very quickly have that stack on the board and being a threat. Another really good acceleration card is the Soulmon. Soulmon 4 to play, 2 to Evo, and then the inheritable, when a card is trashed from your deck, gain 1 memory. This is going to help go into that stack fast again, and you can also hard play it if your opponent's getting set already, just to kind of set up a board state that's going to be beneficial for you to get that inheritable on. Getting into the Myotismon, I'm going to show you the 2 BT2 Myotismon, and you could run more of this, honestly. I'm running this alongside the EX1 Myotismon. I think that this is totally fine. I think that they both kind of function in the same way. The inheritable from the EX1 Myotismon isn't going to come up that often, but sometimes it might be useful to have. It's just reducing that cost to get into Malo, and if they're in trash, it's fine. They don't have the best abilities. The real Myotismon that we want is coming up next. The 4 of BT8 Myotismon. this is required. Getting the when digivolving to be able to get a Yu-Gi-Oh from your trash onto the board, trashing a card to potentially draw one, and then also to be able to gain a memory if you've got Solmon underneath. This just means that the Evo is only going to cost 2, so again, bringing that cost down. This is a great card. I think that it's an absolute staple in the deck, and I hope that we see more cards like this that really help the high end of this deck in the future. Then we have 4 MaloMyotismon. So this is what we're going for on the deck. And if you don't remember what this card does, because it's been a minute, on play, if there are 5 or more cards with Myotismon in their names in your trash, delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon and trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So this is going to be able to essentially get onto the board and then start trashing security, deleting things, and in a format where your opponents might be trashing cards for you, or they're trying to delete things, I think that it's going to be really interesting to be able to kind of counteract their plays by having this guy in the deck. His when digivolving is also good. It's less important, but it just kind of helps him overall. When digivolving, trash the top 5 cards of your deck. Then, if there's a card with Myotismon in its name in your trash, gain 1 memory. So just making that cost 3. If you've got the Solmon, it could cost 2. And then some other cards might make it cost even less. So this is really good, and it combos with some other cards as well, so we'll try and show you that. Then the supporters, we've got the Myotismon. You could run the other MaloMyotismon from BT2, I think it is, but in this format I don't think it's the best. Myotismon is really good to just turn off your opponent's aggression, because your opponent's turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, gain 1 memory. This is great. This is really good against some of the aggro decks, like you might see Merva coming in and putting a lot of bodies on the board and trying to swing for game, but it's going to make that cost a lot more to actually get into that combo. So that's really good. And this Myotismon, it's a promo. You could just put in more Myotismon or whatever else you kind of feel like, or even an option card, but it's just on delete. You can play a level 4 or less card from your trash without paying its memory cost. Its on-play effects don't occur, but that just helps get out a blocker if you really need it, and then you can delete the Myotismon and get the effect from the Tamer. But we'll talk about that again in a little bit. To preface this, I know this is scummy. Not Agumon. DeathX. DeathX at 1, I think, is required for this deck to just kind of turn off opponents' aggression. If you're going to go up against a Merva loop or anything else that's going to be able to kind of just go crazy at that high end, get a lot of bodies on board, I think that just being able to put this out, de-digivolve, delete, just really turns off some of those decks. Only running one of, because it does make the deck too thin if you run more. And also, I really don't like the card overall, and I don't want to just be like, ah, yes, I won because I had 4 DeathX. I want Malo to be my win condition, not DeathX. So he's here to kind of support that, slow the game down again, make my opponents think, and then just really go from there. Getting into the Tamers, let's just start with the memory setters. So running Iron Marco over Matt, you could run Matt. Matt's totally good, but mine are all being used by other people that I know. And Iron Marco works for this deck because when you're attacking, you can trash the top card of your deck, which means that you can draw a card from MaloMyotismon or have more things in trash. So I think that this is good. You don't worry about the when attacking with the Beelzemon, you can digivolve into blast mode. Don't worry about that. It sets, it trashes, happy. Yu-Gi-Oh is the Tamer you want to see. You want to see him in hand, you want to see him in trash, you want to see him everywhere. This is a great card. His all turns effect is when one of your Digimon with Myotismon in its name is deleted, you can suspend this Tamer to gain 1 memory. I'm hoping that people try and delete my Myotismons because they're like, I want him off the board. I end up being able to suspend him and then using the second effect. End of opponent's turn. If this Tamer is suspended, you may delete this Tamer to play 1 MaloMyotismon from your trash without paying its memory cost. You get to do this even if you don't have the 5 in trash to be able to get the on-play effect from the MaloMyotismon. It's just really good to have that as an added benefit because the MaloMyotismon is coming out. This is at the end of your opponent's turn, so then it can immediately attack. And if you've got that 5 in there, you'd have to delete something and trash the top card of their security. This is going to be really interesting for the format. We might just get rushed down, but hopefully our other choices are helping that. And we've got some options to help with that further, so let's see. We've got two things here to kind of just help us pop our Myotismon if we really need to, so that way we can continue our plays. I mean, death clawing your MaloMyotismon or Myotismon to be able to get the Yu-Gi-Oh effect and delete a thing is really beneficial. Calling from darkness, you can delete the Myotismon, do the Yu-Gi-Oh effect, get a Malo out next turn, and also have maybe a level 3 and 4 that you needed out, like a memory blocker or a blocker in general. I think both of these cards at 1 are just really good, and we've got some other options that help us deal with our opponent's boards a little better than them. Deathslinger. This is going to be a very beneficial card for people that are trying to run high stacks or going into their 5 and pushing things out and kind of leaving themselves susceptible to deletion effects. So very easily, very quickly, you'll find 10 cards in trash so you can delete something level 5. If people are getting to that later part of the game, their level 6s are going to be a bit annoying, but you've got other effects to be able to delete them. I think the real value is actually from the when this card is trashed from your deck, gain 1 memory, because you can trash the card from your deck, gain that memory, and then end up going into Malo in like 1 turn because it's so much faster and having a swing and doing other things. So this is just a really nice card. You can run other deletion effects or options, but I think Deathslinger is a cool choice, and it's worked out pretty well in playtesting. Our last option is just Missed Memory Boost, because we want to be able to find our pieces and have potentially some memory to be able to go into plays. Just being able to trash 2 and then draw 1, I've definitely seen it work out negatively in my favor, so there is a chance that this gets changed in the next couple of days beforehand if I do some more playtesting into maybe more deletion effects, more Death Slingers, just for extra memory as I'm trying to trash and do XYZ. But I like Missed Memory Boost, and it's very thematic because it's got the Myotismon in there, so that's it. As an example, let's just say you have this kind of board state. You can swing into security, maybe you die in security, but in this example, we're going to say that we didn't. So we get 1 check. Our opponent has something on the board that we want to get rid of. So we're going to Deathclaw what they have out. Deathclaw will kill the MaloMyotismon, which will activate the Myotismon's on deletion effect. So we can play a Yu-Gi-Oh from trash if we have one, but it will be suspended. Then we can suspend the Yu-Gi-Oh to gain a memory. So essentially this has all been free. And hypothetically in this situation, if we did get another Yu-Gi-Oh out, the next turn, we would actually be able to get 2 MaloMyotismon back onto the board. You do have to remember that the on-play will check as they're each played to see if they've got 5 or more cards in trash with Myotismon in the name. Definitely keep track of that, because the first one you play, you might trash the security because you've got 5, and then you play a second one and you've only got 4, which will mean that it doesn't get the trash and deletion effect. But it means that you've got 2 MaloMyotismon on board that can then immediately swing on your turn. It can be very strong and very oppressive and make your opponents just go, I don't know what to do to deal with this. I hope that you've liked the list. Please tell me what you would change in the comments and maybe how you're playing it or what you're taking to the Beelzemon Cup. If you like this deck list, like I said, leave a like, hit subscribe, and we'll see you soon.